Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse. How are you all doing today? I don't know whether to have my glasses on or off, so I'm having them on. Just so that I can see y'all. Another warm day in Syracuse today, the few we have remaining left. So how are y'all feeling today? Pretty good? So glad you're here. So glad that our people on live streaming are here. Good morning to you also. We're just going to start this out. We don't need to stand up. We're just going to start it out with love is my decision, because that should be our decision every day. But let's make it our decision today. We have a few changes going on today, so we're looking forward to whatever Jacob is going to bring us and whatever y'all have for us today too. Love is my decision. I know you know it. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Oh, and once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. It's up to us to stand on the bridge. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. No one else can make me forgive. Change it today. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. Now we're going to dance up the road. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse. We are glad you are here this morning. My name is Natasha Schmidt. I am your platform assistant for today. I also wish to extend a warm welcome to those who are watching via our live streaming. Some special reminders. We are in phase 1 of reopening. So at the end of service, we ask that you please leave through our main red doors here in the sanctuary. Per New York State mandate, masks are required for those less than 2 weeks after completing their injection series. You are encouraged to wear a mask regardless. We honor your path and the many ways that Spirit shows up. Fellowship downstairs will begin during our phase 2. So for right now, you can socialize outside after the service at your discretion. Saturday fellowship on the lawn continues from 1 to 3. So let us open with the reading of today's daily word. Sunday, August 22nd. Inspiration. I move in harmony with the creative flow of inspiration. Sometimes I feel inspired by the words of others, and sometimes I am inspired more by action. Today, I take my inspiration from the story of Charles Fillmore, a businessman who marveled at his wife's complete healing from a serious illness. This prompted him to embark upon an intensive period of prayer, meditation, and study that led to the founding in 1889 of Unity, which has become a global spiritual community. I take this story to heart and find my inspiration in my feelings of awe and wonder and love and even healthy curiosity, feeling an awakening of inspiration within me. I center my awareness in God. Divinely inspired, I move in harmony with the creative flow that blesses the work of my mind, my heart, and my hands. In the Bible verse for today, but truly it is the spirit in a mortal, the breath of the Almighty, that makes for understanding. Job 32:8. And to inspire is the first word or call to action in our mission statement. And here at Unity, we know that there are no such things as coincidences. So by divine intervention, this word was placed first. And I believe that it is because it is one of our strongest character traits. As an active participating member in this community, I am blessed to find inspiration in each and every one of you. And as I grow deeper in my truth and expressing my own divinity, I become an inspirational character in my own story. And therefore, I am gifted opportunities to be of inspiration to others, and for this I am grateful. Now, as Children's Church remains via Zoom at 10 a.m. on Sundays, we welcome all children to remain present here in the sanctuary with us. And for our announcements, please check out our weekly bulletin and our newly revamped website for all that is going on here. But I will highlight a few for you today. More information about all of these can be found in that newsletter and on our website. But the 4th annual Valley Community Ties Picnic is today from 12 to 3 with our neighbors in the Academy Green Neighborhood Association, Zen Center, and the Rise Center. A big thanks to those volunteers who helped set up the tent yesterday. See the paper flyer at our entrance. Unity World Day of Prayer is coming up September 8th through the 9th. And now I would like to welcome today's guests. Oh, one more announcement.
I do have one other announcement. It has come to our attention that someone who was here last Sunday was having a procedure, was tested and found positive for COVID. This person was vaccinated and asymptomatic. So any of you who are particularly have not been vaccinated, I would strongly, seriously, if you were here last Sunday, to consider to be tested. So this is still part of the reason why we are only opening to phase 1. So thank you.
Okay. And are there any guests here for the first time today? No? That's fine. Let's see. What's that? Tavion for visiting. Hello. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. All right. And now we'll move on with greeting our neighbors. So let us stand and greet one another. All right, and we'll remain standing as we go ahead and move into our statement of being. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And for those of you watching our live stream, share your greetings virtually if you have not already. Be sure to like and subscribe to make it easier for you and others to find our ministry online. And now for our 5 basic unity principles. On the screen, you will see the principles listed. These are the basic tenets of unity. Are there 2 of you who have seen one of them demonstrated in your life in the last week? If anybody would like to share. Miss Patty? Get it, girl. Amen. Thank you. Anybody else have a quick share? Yeah, Natalie.
She doesn't have a
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So last night I had the opportunity with the Interfaith Roundtable, a faith leader group that I'm a part of, to sit in an evening with a bunch of faith leaders. There was a bishop, a rabbi, a reverend, a Buddhist, and a Muslim, and it was really profound and powerful, and it was really about unity principle number 1, that God is the source, and we are here as the hands and eyes of that infinite power within us, and just how we can bring about more peace in our world and our peace within ourselves, and how it really starts within ourselves to do that work and to be the example. So it's really profound and powerful, and I just wanted to share that. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Now we'll move on to the blessing of the prayer box. This is the prayer portion of our service. So will the prayer chaplain serving today a prayer chaplain is available to pray with you before and after service. Unity was founded on prayer. At Silent Unity, prayer is continuous for nearly 130 years. If you have not yet placed your written prayer intention in our prayer box, you may do so at the end of service, or you may pray silently with us during this time. Prayer intentions are held in confidence here for 30 days. In other words, we do not look at them. Then we mail them to Silent Unity, where they are held in prayer for an additional 30 days. And at this time, we bless all prayer intentions and requests.
Father Spirit, Mother Spirit, we have before us these intentions, these requests, and we know that it is in the speaking, the writing of putting that intention out there that it is being fulfilled in its divine order and divine time. For it is the asking has happened, and then there is the receiving. And we know that all of these intentions, whether they're here in this box or whether they're on our hearts, are given to God, to Spirit. We let go. Let it go. And it is so. Say thank you, God, thank you, Spirit. All is well. Amen.
So as we get ready for whatever Jacob has for us this morning, just close your eyes for a minute. Just get yourself ready. Put your feet on the floor. Let your shoulders relax. Feel your breath. Listen for your heart. When you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you feel so tired but you just can't sleep, stuck in reverse, and the tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something that you can't replace, when you love someone but it goes to waste, could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will come to fix you. And high above or down below, when you're too in love to let it go. But if you never try, you'll never know just what you're worth. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will come to fix you. Tears stream down your face when you lose something you can't replace. Tears stream down your face, and tears stream down your face. And you've lost something you can't replace. Tears stream down your face. I promise you I will learn from my mistakes, and lights will guide you home, and I'll ignite your bones, for I have come to fix you. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, for I have come to fix you. To fix you. To fix loves you.
Oh, thank you, Sally. It is so neat to be up here with a room full of people. This is the third time I've given a talk, but this is the very first time that I've had a live audience in the flesh, in this room with me, and the energy is so different. So it's in a lot of ways, this is my first time up here. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Thank you for me being here. So I hope that your arms, those of you who are able and willing, would maybe raise them a little bit. You've got them limber, because I do want to ask a few questions and just get a little bit of a crowd response. I majored in sociology, so counting people after asking them provocative questions is one of the ways that I learned to make sense of the world and to help reveal meaning in a shared space. So, will you be saved, huh? I bit off a lot to chew, theologically, for my first time in front of a live audience. That's just how I roll. How many of you have a real, immediate emotional response when you hear someone ask, will you be saved? Can I get some hands? How many of those are really positive, good feelings when you get that question? Ouch. Ouch. That's why I picked it, you know. That's the provocation to me of this thing called Christianity, this tradition that I was raised in and that as an adult I have returned to after spending time away, because I'm finding it meaningful in new ways. And that's a re-education. That's a re-educational process. How many of you have an answer to that question ready to go? All right. Maybe some of you have had an answer to that question in the past, and it's changed. Maybe that answer is different. Maybe it's the same answer, but it means something different through time. Maybe some of you have a vivid experience of, you know, where were you the day that you realized you weren't going to deal with that question anymore and just swear it off? I've got answers for all of those. I've been on all those different points in there. And part of the inspiration that came to me for choosing this as my topic was a conversation that this is in part a continuation of with somebody who's not in this room right now, but a friend, a good friend who was raised Baptist, like a homeschool Baptist, an ex-evangelical these days. And in getting into another conversation with her after we both still listen to radio preachers as we commute into work in the mornings, partly just to pick at the itch of what we have visited with for different amounts of time in our lives and walked away from, and yet still need to check in on from time to time for whatever inner compulsion, because this tradition means something to us, even in opposing it, even in, there's a certain kind of faith that you find in blasphemy or in heresy, because it's still a way of taking seriously this legacy, this heritage that we've been given, that we can't escape, because most of us are coming from the traditions that came to this country with our ancestors, that was handed down to us, that became cultural institutions, that are still the stories that were told even when they're stripped of their religious imagery. It's still an inner dynamic to our thinking about the world, and the ways that we see the world are bathed in it, shaped by it. And it's my contention that that's what we need to do, is to bring awareness to it in order to loosen it up, in order to revisit the questions so we can let go of them when they need to be let go of. Let gone? Yeah. And when they need to be picked back up in a new way, now that we know how to hold them right, or know how to hold them more comfortably. Because what is it right? What is the right way to be? Right? That comes down in this question, because that's the tradition. There's a right way to be and there's a wrong way to be. And if you're in the wrong way, then you're not saved and you're in trouble. My friend's reaction when I brought this topic to her was, she went a little pale. And, it's a classic topic in theology. We can get a little, she learned Greek. I mean, we can go intellectual on this stuff. And it creates a little distance between the emotional experience of like, are you going to be okay? In some ways, that's what the question is. Will you be saved? Are you going to be okay? Well, maybe I'm not okay right now. I thought I was doing okay, but now you've raised this issue with me. It's a powerful weapon. And I'll argue that it's used as a weapon a lot of times. I will argue that it's used to make us uncomfortable in ways that aren't necessarily helpful to us and to our process, that makes us into part of a story, that makes us into a thing for some other story. And that's not, for me, what religion is meant to do. That's not, to me, what this character in this mythology that was handed to me as my cultural heritage, this man Jesus, the way shower, as we frequently will conceive of him when we're talking about him here in Unity. The point of religion in this kind of a lens is not to make me feel bad for the sake of fitting into a program, except a program that I choose, a program that works for me to unfold my powers, to let go of the things that are bothering me, to face the things that are bothering me and accept them in new ways so that I can be loose, so I can release what's not working and work on what can and make the progress that there is. And to go through that experience with other people that can share that with me and we can build each other up, which, that's when you read this book, this Bible, there's a lot of that in there. And among the other stuff, those are the parts that I'm most interested in. Those are the parts that bring me back when I feel annoyed at some of the other parts. So I chewed this stuff all around, this classic topic in Western theology. 2,000 years later, there's still not an agreement on how salvation or perdition, if that's the opposite of salvation, works, what it is, what it isn't, how you get it. Is it once and for all? How does it relate to your life? Jury's still out. We're still working on it. Well, that's one of the things that I love about Unity, is that it's not even a church officially. We're a school of interpretation. A school of interpretation where, in this particular community, I get real excited because we don't even have one authoritative leader. We are leaderful. And not just the people that you see on stage, but the people that you talk with afterwards or in discussion groups can blow your mind open in a very simple way, because we have those channels of communication open. We have that expectation that there is no authority on earth that can trump all others. There is no infallibility, that we are all fellow students and that we all get opportunities to teach and learn from one another. So I did check the Unity website after I kicked all these things around and started to get into Greek etymology and Hebrew and started doing some proof texting and all these great things that they teach us to do. And Unity's website has a statement of faith. What does Unity teach about sin and salvation, heaven and hell? It's separation from God in consciousness. Salvation is right now, not something that happens later. And it happens all the time. Whenever you turn your thoughts away from worry and fear and anxiety and doubt to thoughts of love, harmony, joy, and peace. The fall from grace takes place in consciousness whenever we fall into negative habits of thinking. Heaven and hell are states of consciousness, not geographical locations, and we make our own heaven or hell here and now by our thoughts, words, and deeds. I know a lot of you are conversant with A Course in Miracles, salvation being a really key concept in that theology, and one that I am not equipped to discuss at the level of rigor that my character insists that I have. Part of that's perfectionism, and part of that's just taking words seriously. But pretty compatible. It's a big reason why A Course in Miracles is such a popular text within Unity communities, because it's a similar notion that we're separated. We have some kind of a little tendency to fall away from the remembrance that all of this is one thing. We don't have to worry about the atonement on Golgotha when Jesus was crucified as being a key concern, that this once and for all, we can fix it with a date, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, the at-one-ment. Sweet wordplay. Sweet wordplay. Do I feel at one now? And I love that. I love that statement. There's parts that leave me wanting. My friend, when I shared it with her, the ex-evangelical friend, it's a little too woo, but not woo enough somehow. I like that. Because at once, yeah, I want to be very practical, because I don't know. Like I said, I think all the time, I read all the time, I'm pretty obsessed with well, the Greek root is going to be meaningful. I better really crack the books on this one. But that doesn't necessarily help communicate and connect with the people in my community, which is what I above all want. If I can share something that I've learned, that's helpful, but there's a real tendency in me to say, well, if I can get the right answer, then I'm good. One and done. I figured out the answer. I've got salvation now, right? It's that kind of a thinking structure that I want to pull apart. And that's what I mean, that it's built in. That's an emotional structure in me. It's not merely an equation of well, in this Baptist church, if I hear the altar call, come up, confess my sins, accept Jesus, I'm good. And then I have to worry because I don't have all the marks of a saved person in my life. Maybe it didn't work. Why not? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me that I'm not still saved, even though I went to the altar last Sunday? And these are the things that, not having grown up in that environment, I'm glad that I don't have to overcome now. But when I picked this title, and I got to hear from people who said, oh, you're speaking in church? Oh, that's your title. Oh, wow. This is who you are now, huh? What do you mean? Hold on. Listen to the talk first. Share with me right now so I can put this in the talk. Because that feeling, that emotional experience of you're not good enough, why aren't you fixed already, is built in emotionally and intellectually, even though we don't see it all the time, beyond even what we think of as being religious questions. I'll just wait here until the rescuer comes. This problem, I can't fix it myself. I can't do anything about it. Someone's going to have to come and save me. I shouldn't figure this out on my own. There's an expert. And once I get that figured out, it'll all be fixed. I won't have to revisit it again. I don't know. It sounds really nice to go up to the altar and tearfully renew a relationship with someone that, in this way of thinking, is a very personal presence, embodied personality in life. I hear about people's relationships with Jesus Christ, and I think, well, that sounds kind of nice. And then I have conversations with them, and sometimes they bring up aspects of how that works, and it doesn't sound so good. But personality seems like a big piece of how we learn in this life and what we expect from God. Because that's a big piece of what Christianity says, is that God has and is a personality. So at one, we're saying God is everything, beyond all thoughts, all conceptions. That's where I'm trying to go. Like, the finger is pointing that way. Don't look at my finger. I'm trying to point you towards what you cannot see, what you cannot think of. And yet at the same time, this is something, someone, that you can relate to personally. I have trouble relating to myself personally and to the people I live with and spend most of my time with. Much less, and those people have skin on. Those are more relatable. I love what unity has brought to the world, what Charles and Myrtle brought in their interpretation, their decisions based on their experiences of what they wanted to do with their understanding. They've come to certain understandings of the Bible, of life, of what religion is supposed to do for people, based not just on Christianity, but on wide reading. I mean, Charles was a pretty big fan of what was going on in the 19th century, was people were, for the first time in English, being able to read things like Hindu philosophy, Vedanta, Buddhism. These things were flowing into our culture at that time. And so they borrow a little bit from everything. It's a very common New Age trope, is that we pick a la carte religion. And sometimes that can create problems. Sometimes that can create realization of resonances. Because whatever Christianity is, it's a religion that came from the Middle East at this time in history when there was a lot going on. There were a lot of mystery cults. This is one more mystery cult. It's the one that I was raised in. It's one that gives me things to think about when I think of what it means that someone was crucified, even though they were innocent, they were raised from the dead. This mythology speaks to me. But some of the ideas about time and eternity that Charles and Myrtle found so fascinating in religions from Asia were there at the beginning in Christianity, and they kind of got pushed to the side. Like, that's the historical process of what happened and when they decided which books go in the Bible and which ones don't. So we emphasized some notes and de-emphasized others, and that spiraled and led, and even into the 20th century, it's still a contested thing of which communities decide which books are more important. How do you interpret this text? It's all a school. There's no one answer. When you wear the veneer of thinking that there is one, then there's that disjuncture of like, well, here's the answer, versus like, here, I think the answer is. There's a big difference. There's a big difference in what that personality means. I don't expect to get one answer because I'm just a dude. I am made of meat and dirt, and I will be dust soon. But for a little while, I get to do some work figuring things out, and I know that those answers are going to lead to the good. I didn't always feel and think that way, but now I do. And part of that is re-educating my expectations, re-educating my idea of what God is. Will you be saved? The power of the month is will, right? The school of reinterpreting Christianity, Charles and Myrtle emphasize that the power of will isn't to say like that thy will not mine be done is a submission. It is submission, but it's also an enhancement of our willing. It's raising our willing to a higher level, not being like, oh, whatever, whatever happens, happens. No, I'm choosing this. I've deepened my understanding to the point where I am capable of moving with even more conviction and choosing something. We're choosing what many churches say is heresy. They call us a cult. That was some of the other materials I figured out when I was looking out to see, like, what does Unity believe about salvation? It's like, well, they're not even a church anymore. It's like, whatever. Charles and Myrtle came up with some ideas. People thought they sounded good. They sound good to me. For the most part, what I know, I'm here because there's enough that I agree with that I'm willing to continue the conversation with all of you, and I love this. And it means, like, no, I don't think God wants vengeance on me. I don't think God is trying to trick me. I don't think this is all an elaborate test that hinges on, oh no, you ate something wrong, or something else at that level of earthly existence. To the extent that this is a test, it seems like it's a test of faith. It's a test of conviction and principle. And these things are not found on earth. We find them from within, and we bring them out of our experience, or we put them in to our experience because we say, the world needs to be more just, and so I will be just today. The world needs to be more loving, so I will be loving today. I feel like I need to get rescued, so is there something I can do for someone else to help them today? Because then I can make the world have what I think there needs to be. My personality becomes aligned with that of that most high that I'm envisioning as a personality. I'm how God gets around. I did want to share a gospel story as part of my meditation. And so I'm going to invite you to get centered where you're sitting. Just take this time, just a second, to feel where you're at, to feel how your body is laid out today in the changing conditions of our lives. We feel the air around us. We feel these pews, these trusty pews with their cushions under us. And we know that all is well. We know that this time has been given to us to share, to set aside for some time to think on things that we don't always make time for. We have willed ourselves into this position. So much has been given to us to bring us to this moment. So much is being given to us. This moment is more than seconds on a wristwatch. This moment is an access point to eternity. Our personalities, yours, mine, your neighbors, all of this has conspired to bring this moment to pass. All of the questions and conceits and gripes that you've brought with you that come up in your soul when you hear, will you be saved? All of these are part of one story. And so now I'll tell you this one story from a different part of the one story. When Jesus and his gang had just come back from the land of the Gadarenes, they had been riding in a boat. There had been a storm. The waves were calmed. They performed an epic exorcism on a woman and returned to town to great fanfare. The crowds were gathered, pressed in on all sides, and a man from the local meeting house came and he said, Rabbi, my daughter is sick. Come to my house, lay hands on her and heal her. I know that you're a miracle worker. You've been doing it all, this whole gospel. So Jesus is going. The crowd is pressed in tight. And unknown to him, there is a woman who has been sick for 12 years. She has not been able to heal. She has gone to every doctor. She has tried every recipe, every prescription. She has run out of money. But she's heard that the miracle worker is in town, and she knows that he will help her. And she goes to him and says to herself, unable to get more than her hand through the press of the crowd to touch him, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I will be, and here's the Greek, sozo, made whole. It's the same word as saved. If I can touch the hem of his garment, I'll be saved. And she does. And instantly her wounds are healed. She feels herself well in her body. And Jesus says, who touched me? And his boys are like, yo, there's everyone that's touching you, man. Like, what are you talking about? Who touched you? And Jesus says, I felt the power go out of me, go out from me. Someone touched me. Who was it? He's been working all these miracles this whole time, this whole gospel. Who was it? That reminds me of the line in the Garden of Eden after Adam eats the fruit with Eve, and God says, where are you? Like, God doesn't know. There's two people in the whole world. There's just the one garden. Like, where are you? Jesus feels power leave him because someone touches his garment. Who was it? You don't know that, man? I think God, in both of these personalities, knew. They had knowledge. But they have to ask the question, hey, do you want to come forward? Do you want to talk? My personality to yours. I'm calling, I'm asking, I'm inviting. Where are you? Who was that? Who touched me? The woman comes to him in fear and trembling and says, it was I, Lord. Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease. Be made whole. Be saved. It's an invitation. Will you? Will you choose? Will you run through all your resources until finally you realize, if I could just get close enough? But you have to be willing. You are invited. There are many invitations, and you have to accept them. And like the woman who was in fear and trembling when she confessed to the Lord, I leave you with the words of Paul that you must go and work out your own salvation with fear and trembling yourself. For it is God who is at work in you, enabling you both to will and to work for his good pleasure. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you. Our mission statement, Unity of Syracuse. Unity of Syracuse inspires, awakens, and transforms lives through unlimited prayer and service. Now we'll do the tithes and love offerings. As our ushers come forward, please join me in blessing our gifts, tithes, and love offerings. As you hold your offering in your hand, join with me in the blessing of your gift. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are my source. I think you were good.
So let's rub our hands together and just bless these tithes and love offerings. And thank you so much, Tavion, for blessing us with your presence today. So good to see you. So as we take a deep breath, we're so grateful for this community and all the time, talents, and treasures that we give so freely and so selflessly. Thank you, Spirit, for showing up within us and around us and through us. And we see this community sustaining us, protecting us, and allowing us to evolve and grow as individuals and collectively. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen.
Amen. We bless our children. Now we'll do the blessing of our kids. We bless our children wherever they are. We see them surrounded by love and light throughout the week. We have a thriving and edifying youth and family ministry. And thank you to our YFM families, teachers, and directors. And now for our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.